Rastafari, samurai, never leaving you dry in your eye. I approve this message nationwide. Once again on Down to Earth podcast with my brother Sean Myrie. And we got T Royals here. And we got a special guest. Tell them who you are, my brother.
Glasses motherfucking low. The big homie.
Big,
What's up
What's
with
big.
it?
up, man? It's an honor. It's an honor. Me and my brother Rastafari Samurai. My name is Sean Myrie, D2E Down to Earth family. We got our brother too, T Royals up there. You know,
Salute, salute.
you know
Not
what we're
much
gonna be.
love, fellas.
Much respect here. I know about you from the West Coast because we're tuned in with the knowledge of hip hop from the
Believe
East
that.
Coast to the West Coast. I know Glasses Malone. Like you're from what, Compton, right?
From Watts.
Watts. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Watts, right? And I know Cam's from there too. We got the knowledge of the hip hop down there. But we're gonna be talking and getting down to earth because we're from Toronto, where in America you say is the six because a certain person popularized the city by that name, the six. But we're from T dot Toronto, the original,
That's,
the
that's what I
original.
remember hearing.
Yeah,
It was
Toronto.
called.
T dot.
T
T-Dot.
dot.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So from here to the West Coast, we're gonna be getting down to earth about the legendary. People are kind of calling it a legendary battle right now, but it's not even worthy calling a battle because we're talking about Drake, the elephant in the room, and Kendrick Lamar. This whole thing now is just bubbling in the culture, hip hop culture, everywhere, pop culture, talking about this. And we know the knowledge of Drake, and you know the knowledge of Kendrick Lamar, and we're gonna get down to earth about this because it's not biased. It's coming straight from the West Coast to what they want to call the East, Toronto, and we're talking about two big giants in the industry. Everybody's talking about, but they're not connecting like us because you're from America, we're from Canada, we're two big stars are always in the media, and we're gonna get down to earth about this because I see you talking a lot about Drake and hip hop, and it's so true of the pop star status and the hip hop. And you know what? It's scary right now because people know in the six we are real hip hop. If people want to talk about hip hop, we know hip hop, and I know that you come from a culture the same way. So yo, we'd like to welcome you and get down to earth about anything you want to talk about.
And I
This whole
appreciate y'all for
situation.
having me, brother.
Salute,
Yeah.
salute to the legend,
Yeah.
G Malone.
I mean, I've been hearing about Toronto for a while. Obviously, you grow up and you hear stories and stuff, but um, I definitely know they got a crazy scene up there. You know what I mean? They got ghettos like everywhere else. They've had hip hop acts that have impacted my life before. So, I'm aware of what's happening to some degree. You know what I mean? I got some partners from Montreal that do their thing that's on a blue flag just like me. So I know it's the same thing going over there.
See, it's interesting to hear you say that because there's a stereotype I know, even in America, about maybe Canada. We all hear it like we're basically considered OGs, like in Toronto. People would call us old heads or whatever, but we are hip hop, right?
Yeah.
Right. So when you talk about people who influence you, it makes me wonder who you're talking about because when people look at Toronto through Drake's lens, that's not Toronto, really. He came from. This is a battle city. People, you have to have skill. This
Shout
is
out to
a
Cardi.
this is yeah. Bless up to Cardi.
Shit,
This is the Screwface capital. That's our nickname, before this whole sick shit. It's
Yeah.
called the Screwface capital because people, when you went to perform, if you're a hip hop artist, you better have skill. You get what I mean? You're hip hop. So this whole shit, what probably people think when they see, I'm gonna straight up call out the name top five and all this shit with Drake. Like respect to Drake, he's a pop star though, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's not that. It came up like New York MCs. You better have the skill, and it was harder for us because to get a deal in America it's still like a dream. It's funny, like when people look on getting successful in America here, it's like imagine it's even harder because
Yeah.
you're fighting rock. This is a rock city, right? Rock,
It-
my
it's
brother.
yeah, it's international. It's an international deal that has to happen.
Yeah, so when you're coming out as just doing hip hop, urban music from here, it's like a racism. It's like
Yeah.
we're in the '60s still fighting for our rights down here. Even though you see Drake, you see Weeknd, you see Tory Lanez, that's just
We don't
recent.
have no infrastructure
We
up
don't.
there. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
where the we ain't got no infrastructure up
But
there.
yo, we're getting down to earth about it. You like, it's interesting. You said Cardi. Cardi is the first one who broke commercial with what's his name again from
Akon.
Akon.
Akon,
So
yeah.
that's what got him known out there. But you see, here we had a lot of artists, and Drake, he got the influence from a lot of people from here, and he claims he gives it respect, but I don't think there's a lot of stories about Drake what a lot of Americans don't know. It's you really tapped in here, right? So it's interesting to connect the dots. And you know probably more about Kendrick, probably more than us. We know about Kendrick too, but you know a lot because you're from similar, like, backgrounds.
Yeah, he's my that's my little dude though. Like more than just a rap scene dude. Like his first cousin, that's my best friend, rest in peace, baby Pat Dog. Um I've been knowing him since he was in high school. You know what I mean? So it ain't just like a rapper relationship per se. It's a real relationship. Like I got genuine love, you know what I'm saying, for him. He's a special person to me.
Interesting. You know what? Your history being an artist yourself, correct me if I'm wrong. Were you associated with the Cash Money?
Right when Drake came in the door.
All right. So a lot of people, that's a gem
Yeah,
for you. Some people into the six right now.
that's
a
what
gem.
blow me away
I
though,
remember
bro,
that.
because it's this weird energy like I dislike, dude. And it's crazy to me because it's like if you just look through my Twitter, you can see times I complimented him, encouraged him, I thought greatness of his record. But I think when you start calling a spade, even when you saying something positive, but when you say something that people may don't know how to feel about it, because I think when they hear me say like he's not hip hop, it's saying that he's not authentic or he's not good or you know what I mean, he doesn't rap or you know what I mean, it's a bunch of other stuff that don't really matter.
Yeah,
Like
but we're
they
gonna
don't have nothing
co-sign
to do
that
with
for
each
you.
other.
We're gonna co-sign that for you because
Yeah, yeah.
this is the
No,
voice. What they don't want to let out. You're
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Facts.
He's
You're
pretty
saying
much
this stuff.
saying he's hip hop.
We
Man.
know that from the beginning, though.
Yeah.
We're not surprised. Okay, this is,
In the city, that was the narrative. Like from the
listen.
initial, like
I give Drake his flowers too. I always said, "Yo,
Man,
respect
he's
to
a
Drake for giving
bro.
us the spotlight."
And he's one of the best record makers I've seen in my life.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, especially in my time in the music business, he's one of the best. So it's just weird when you start to, like you start to just fully analyze the situation, and maybe it's things that people don't know how to feel about it. And I don't know why they would even be mad because they know this thing was made for people that come from a struggle to kind of express themselves,
exactly.
not just an open thing. And it's not just about the hood, but it definitely is the culture that the hood came up with. And that's dope.
That's why I never had. That's one of the reasons why I never had like a negative outlook on gatekeeping in the
Yeah.
culture. I always felt like, yo, it's supposed to be gatekeep, else you're
Y'all
gonna
see what
lose it.
happened to Rock. Y'all see what happened to Jazz.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where, it come with when you start, saying things people may don't know how to feel. Because I think it again, like I say, the negativity is people don't know how to feel about me saying he's not hip hop versus I'm not saying he's not a talented act or he's not a talented artist. And then it got worse because of the battle. And obviously I'm backing my man, you feel me? Like I'm all the way. So 100 jokes for everybody, that's his fans, and we joking and I'm making all the jokes and but it's not nothing personal for me with, you know what I mean, dude. I want the best for him. I hope he's fine.
You know
I
this
just
You know what's funny? I was like, when the battle was going on, I was like saying, okay, I know Kendrick is sharp. He's a sharp MC and everything. Let's see. Let me give Drake a little, like, maybe he could come with something, right? So I'm
yeah.
hearing these tracks he's coming with. I'm saying, all right, especially Family Matters. But you could see the energy is like, this is a game for him. This is just like just a game. You get what I mean? Like how
Yeah.
he likes to gamble, because he's a gambler. Remember
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, they told
And
me.
he lost the bet. He's big in gambling with the stake that steak company. So you know he lost already when Meet the Grams came out.
Man, he has an
You,
addiction of gambling, man. Straight up.
you know what's funny is I don't think he understood the what you know what the Ram like what was on the line wouldn't have been that bad if he would have kept it a player kept it player when it was over. He'd have just came out and be like, "You got me, man." Like, damn, I didn't see you was gonna do that.
You're
But
right.
I'm finna get back to this music. Da da da. You know, he would have been cool, and that's what hip hop is all about. And you know, I met some players from Toronto that's cool. Like I met players from Watson Compton that's cool. You feel me? So it's cool, exists everywhere, but I just don't think he's it. You know what I mean? And so every move he was making since then has just been uncool. And now the veil is off, and you know, it's no more Stunner Man, Slim, Wayne, you know, Cortez, Jay Prince, Jazz to hide
The
what I like
backdrop.
to call the corn. The
Like the
corn is coming
backdrop.
out
Why are
Oh, okay.
people surprised? Yo,
because they
Royals.
didn't know. Because dog, you got to think for 15 years, people
Yeah, right,
thought
you're
of
right.
him as cool.
Yeah, you're
They
right.
didn't know, you know, like when you
So
up there, you know who somebody is. Y'all could,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
I
it's a
have
2 degrees of separation.
yeah.
I have a question. I have a
Yeah.
question. You know, hip hop. Hip hop we're talking here,
My
right?
brother.
So, you know, there's a lot of you know, battles back in the day and stuff like that, a lot of records and all of that. So, this is the thing I'm not used to. Where have we seen like where have hip hop gone that you could take someone defamation and taking them to court and stuff like that? Like, you know, like this is new to me. Like,
That's
you
crazy
know,
shit.
That's because you're of the culture.
yeah,
So you like, what is going? But
yeah.
again,
We
bro,
didn't
like
gatekeep it enough. It hasn't been gate kept properly.
No,
instead of
but I'm
him,
not surprised though. I was about to tell you all
There's
you get
narratives running
all
all
you
over the place and
but you
all
know why
this
I'm not
shit. It's just
surprised?
like
Before he was this hip hop artist, Drake is an actor.
yes,
This is his best role. See,
Best
when I get
role,
down to earth, I'm like the villain of T.O., the Six,
sure,
me and my brother, right? Drake was an actor,
yes,
or always been an actor.
yes.
This is his biggest role, like
Oh yeah,
CB4. I'm sorry. I'm going to break it down to earth. Like
CB4.
CB4. You know what I'm talking about,
Guts
brother.
though.
CB4. And listen, people who's been out before Drake, they want to say that he's a colonizer. I agree with. I'm sorry. I agree with that because he took people's style from here,
yeah.
remixed it,
I think
remixed it when he went to America, and that's how he got big. And you know where we're standing right now? I'm gonna get down to earth with Glasses Malone.
sure.
The real guy who he has beef with is from his hometown, who's good friends with Kendrick. And who's the top artist in pop in the world right now? Hey, T. Russ, who's the top artist in the world right now in
Oh,
pop?
who,
weekend.
Abel.
Yeah, where's Weekend from? Where's
Toronto.
Weekend from?
Toronto.
Yeah, I see that stuff. Been looking crazy. Um, I don't know, man. It really is simple, but again,
That's what
I
it
don't get his
is.
thought. I don't get. You know what? I take that back. I get what he's doing. You know what I mean? Because he just don't know better.
Yo, every time you're on the net, if you're on the net, you see Drake has the most streams. Drake has the most this. Drake has the most this, right? Then you know who I see in the pattern? You see Weekend has the most this. He's the top streaming male artist of 2020 what 4. So there's something going on in the industry between these two, and he's from Toronto. They're both from the same city. I notice a lot of Americans respect to them. They look on this whole Kendrick beef, but really it's the Weekend and Drake.
Yeah, I see bodyguards getting shot at properties. You can see
Yep.
what's going on. You know what I mean? If you paying attention, but what's that about anyway? I don't know what. Like I'd have never kept up with neither one of their things.
No, because
I
Weekend's
heard
on.
about through the streets. I heard about the homie, the dude Cash that's out here that run the weekend label, and I heard they had some stuff, and I see it could kind of get serious. But what is they beef really about? Like, is it like some
Woman,
Toronto street shit?
I don't
woman,
know what the fuck.
woman.
I don't
I said it's a woman.
It's always a woman with Drake, man.
The story is that sorry, I'm spilling the tea. The story is
Sure.
that Drake slept with Weekend's one of his girls. Right? I guess one of his first ladies, or you know what I'm saying? That's his habit. That's what even Joe Budden put out the other day. Like that's his style. he been doing?
I mean, I think he come from a place to where, like, you know, maybe women wasn't as accepting to him, and now that, you know, he feel like they accept, he mad at the world and people who might got more play than him at one time, and he just going crazy on everybody.
Well, that's the beginning, because when we're talking about this whole situation, this whole beef, because this is what they call it, a beef. This is not new to Drake.
Nope.
There's another girl from here named what? Keisha Shante.
Yeah.
She used to be on 1 and 6 in Park. She was a host.
Yeah, and now she's
Right?
now she's on ET.
That story is that he thought she was with this other guy who's a rapper who I made an episode about, the real Drake, Jay Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Diggs was this guy. You should look him up, Jay Diggs. Right? This is where Drake took his stuff from. I'm straight up. He even bigged me up for doing this. This guy was talking to Kishante, like, you know, talking, and then he called him up and said, "Yo, you with my girl?" That's what it was, one of his first beefs. That same guy, Jay Diggs. Let's go on. Let's continue. Look up Jay Diggs though. It'll be interesting.
I'm gonna
for you.
check him out. So that's where a lot of his style came from, they say.
Yeah, man. Jay
Check
Diggs,
it out.
the whole dressing, light skin, same shit. And he put him on one of his first tracks. Drake actually was on this, one of Drake's first tracks. He was featured on it. And his name's not on it. You could go look up the song with Jay Diggs online and you don't see Drake's credits.
Oh,
But
wow.
Drake's rapping on there. And this guy's rapping. His whole style is from this guy. I don't care what anybody said. From Jay Diggs.
I'm gonna check that out.
This is gonna go viral.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, check that out. But yeah, man, this is like a Bible of stuff. Like me and my brother and T Royals Down to Earth podcast, we break down a lot of stuff, but especially hip hop. And we know hip hop. What do you think about this whole thing with this lawsuit stuff? Like, this is or a petition. It's a petition. I'm here
Yeah.
doing a petition to get the song. Like, he's fighting the song. Like, why you can't take it? Not like
I
us.
said, we're not used to this. I'm not. Listen, man.
And
I'm
then
not-
there's some fool. Like, I gotta say, I'm gonna tell Glass Malone this. Then there's a lot of Drake. Okay, not everybody loves Drake just because you're from Toronto, but there's a lot of these Drake stans. A lot in America, but there's some of them here. They're delusional.
I'm sorry. I feel like I'm in the twilight zone, man. I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. You know why I feel like I'm in the twilight zone? Because
Tell me.
I'm just going to say certain things. Like one of the biggest ones, Jay-Z and Nas, right?
Yeah.
Right? When they came up with the album, them, right? And they're doing, back and back, right? Did they say they're gonna take one to court and shit?
No.
So like I'm just saying,
But
like,
what I'm saying,
I'm not used to this.
I gotta say this. They're so delusional. I was on a stream. You know the other brother, Friday Ricky Dread from We
Yeah,
Love Hip Hop,
yeah.
right?
Oh, brother. Shout
I
out
was
to him.
on there for a little bit. Sometime, I chat with this brother, but he's the Drake lawyer. That's his nickname.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's the lawyer, man.
Right? So he says he talks behind the scenes with them and shit. And a lot of times I used to say, "Yo, man, if you are the face or supposed to be the so-called biggest whatever podcast or whatever in Toronto,
Mhm.
how come this man Drake, who you've been bigging up pom-poms for so long, never came on your show, and he came on some American show, some
Some
girl,
weird dude.
some other shit, and he never ever came on your show, and not even a voice note, but you always have an excuse, say, "Oh, don't worry about it," or whatever, right? And you know his best friend OVO 40, but he never been on your show
And
Right?
how long his show's been going on now?
for over 8 years.
Okay,
Never came
I
on
just
the
have
show.
to put that reference.
Right? Never been on your show. So that's total disrespect. You get
It
my
definitely,
meaning?
it definitely ain't admiration for sure.
Because
And this is home.
and
this is home. This is
I
home.
call him out, you know.
This is home.
Yo, I'm
Remember
gonna
that
tell you,
too.
Yo, we're gonna tell you, Glasses Malone. Some of these guys, a lot of these guys are bandwagonists. When Drake came
Yup.
out, they never supported him. And we're keeping it real. When I seen him come out, we know this guy was like a nerd, straight up. Doing acting, going to the Grassy. The only reason he got big is because his mother's Jewish and his father's American. Anybody who has a connection like that from here would be successful. If they
Damn,
wanted to
like
do-
that?
If they wanted to do music. If you wanted to do something and you have a father who's American and he's a musician and your mother's Jewish or something like that, even if she was like some other type of white woman, would have made it successful in the music industry in America.
Let me
he's
ask y'all a
fact.
question. When he was coming up, what was it like? Like, what was the buzz like for y'all when y'all heard about it?
he didn't just break like that. Okay, when he came out, he got more commercialized in, you would say, 2010. As soon as he got to Cash Money, or 9 and 10, right? But in 2006, where they claim he was around 2006,
I
right?
knew you were
Wait,
gonna
wait,
say
hold
06.
on.
No, I knew
When
you
they
were
say
gonna say 06.
2005 and 6, he wasn't big like what they're saying, right? That same guy I'm
What
talking
was it
about,
like? What was it like for him in 2005 or 6?
he was still a nerd. He was just coming up to know Trey Songs. That guy Jay Diggs was the big guy. That guy Jay Diggs had all the big videos. He was the sixth god before this guy. This is controversial coming up. Drake stole a lot of this guy's swag. This guy was touring with the game all through Canada. Jay Diggs. You need that interview, Jay Diggs. He was touring, doing quality videos before Drake existed. The man told the story, and you look this up on TikTok, how Drake used to come to clubs and he couldn't get in unless there's a story. He had to call him, Jay Diggs, down to go pick up Drake to get into the club.
So why do you think he doesn't support like the brothers, the podcast? Because I see him do stuff with a lot of the others, but why he don't support the brothers up there, the pods? Like you're right, that dude does. You're right. Dread looks out and kind of reps him and
Yeah, Friday.
really defends him.
Alert.
I have talked with him, and it's like, why would he not empower him? Like this dude is from your town.
Yes.
If
'Cause
nothing else, like that would be the biggest episode of his life. He could change his life. I don't know why he wouldn't do
I
that.
like it that you said that, right? Because check this, you're right. Why wouldn't he empower him? This is the Screwface capital. Because back in the days, I'm gonna give you it, right? You want me to dig more?
Yeah.
Back in the days when Friday was an artist or whatever, a manager, and Drake was coming out, Toronto was different with the music. It's still in that hardcore, type of hip hop type of shit, more hardcore. You get what I mean?
Sure.
So they used to punk off Drake studio time or something like that, like intimidating that, yo, we're here and you ain't coming to do shit. So even though he's cool with him now and his friend, the producer 40, Drake probably thinks like those feelings, still remembers probably, yo, you used to punk us off for studio time and shit. Yeah, I'm cool with you now.
I mean, who used to punk him off?
Like Friday and the people used to manage.
Okay.
The artists who he used to manage, they used to be in the same building doing studio time. He has that story. He talks about that, right? And how they used to like take up the time. Drake was just starting. 2006, how old was Drake? He was like only like 19.
In 1920 something. Drake is like 86, huh?
Or he was 16 or so. He was very young, Drake. 2006, right? Because I was young then. I don't give a shit about telling people my age. I was 26.
Mm-hmm.
I was 26, 2006. So Drake is younger than me. Drake is about what? Yeah, would have been 20.
So I'm questioning. So, but even a guy like y'all, a Dread, even right now, y'all having like y'all have a conversation. I just don't get why he wouldn't come sit down with y'all or Dread or somebody and like, what's wrong? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I won't happen.
I like what he said. That's
I
gonna
love
go
it what
viral.
he said.
That's gonna go viral.
I love it what
just
he said,
there.
but that won't happen.
Why
What you
though?
just said there?
I will never
Wait.
happen. Yo, check this out. What
would
was that
would
girl?
y'all be open to it?
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course
I'll
we
be
would
open
be.
to that.
We'd
Of
be
course.
open to it.
Of course.
But the thing is, I don't see it as a reality.
No.
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 You
You're
might
saying that.
see it as a
I see
reality.
it as a reality.
I don't.
And he might want to go against it, right? You know why? Right? You got to think of yourself highly, no matter what.
Of course.
Friday, respect to him, you're big, but I see how Drake does it. Drake goes for the unusual, and I'm giving you a gem. I shouldn't even let it out. The people who he co-signs here are not even you would never think you would of someone of his caliber would co-sign certain people, which they're not deserving. I would be straight up. Why would you co-sign a girl like Linus Kerr? Respect to her, she has some type of talent, but that's not what's promoted in the industry. So you'll go to the unusual and give them spotlight, but there's sharp MCs in Toronto. There's guys who are maybe that's what it is.
I heard some stuff.
He's
Yeah.
scared of the competition, maybe. Why wouldn't you sign or give these guys? I'm not talking respect the press on these young guys, but there's some guys near your age, Drake, or maybe maybe a little younger who are lyricists you never put on. You have the guys for what it's called, what he has Reps Up and Preem and some of those other guys, but there's way better guys straight up. Guys who we know, I'll be straight up, we're hip hop. We'll murder any of those guys from OVO in hip hop. They can't test a lot of guys who are not. You know what I mean? There's like
Yeah, I just don't get. I mean, I think he's trying. Just from the outside looking in, it's like he's trying, but I always say like the thing that made me realize he wasn't hip hop is after all of this music, you know, like I've heard from him and all these great records, and I know some songs by heart. I feel like I don't know anything more about Toronto streets, and I think
it's a
that's the
complete.
most
Okay,
important part.
you know what's the problem? This is what the big problem I see,
Mhm.
and Royals could come in with this, right? Is that no, hold on. The people who he's promoting, not saying he doesn't relate to some of the people like Pressa, who's from the streets, and certain people.
Yeah,
But
you could tell.
these guys are the young boys to me. They're not like the OGs.
Yeah, they babies.
Where's the OGs? This is the problem. I think this is the disconnect from Drake and the OG. There's none of those.
What about the dudes that he got around him that are the older dudes like
Okay,
that?
he has
That
one or two. He has one or two. That's it.
but why are they not speaking up for him? And why are they not
We've
pushing the
been
line?
saying that, right? Haven't we?
Yeah,
been
why are
saying
they
that?
not? Why are they not saying, "Hey, you know what? Like, shout out to the Chubbs and the Bakas and all them." But why are they not saying, "Hey, you need to go sit down with these brothers from Down to Earth Podcast. They from Toronto, or Dread is supporting you, or Down to Earth got some misunderstandings. You should go sit down with them
It's
and do a
gonna happen.
podcast."
It's gonna happen.
clear-
It's gonna
and-
happen.
and
No, I
clear
don't know
the
about
air.
Friday, but listen, this was a continue. As long as Sean Myrie and Down to Earth is around, Drake has to come to us.
I just
Because-
don't get why he hasn't. It seems like that's
because we're
that's where he
too-
should be at first.
Because there's certain things maybe he doesn't want to talk about.
But what
Yeah,
could but the thing is, he can't hide anything that's not obvious. You get what I'm saying? So that's to me why, like,
You're
I
right,
get
you're
upset
right,
when
you're straight,
people.
you got it. You're right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, do you think so? Even with the whole non-hip hop thing, I think I always felt that their energy was upset at me. Like, are y'all trying to fool people and make them think that you know what I mean? You get the culture. Like, are you acting like you from the street? Like, I hear the records and I know you popping it at a high level, talking about what you do to people and all of that. But do you believe that, or are you just making records? And to me, it's like, are you upset that you trying to fool people? And I'm saying, like, yeah, this is not your part. That's not to say you're not a man and you won't stand up and defend yourself, or you got a couple dollars now. It ain't nothing to put some money on people's heads. But are you really ready to go to jail for this? And like how you popping it? So
Listen,
I just don't get the like, even with y'all, like y'all from the same town. Like if it was a dude, shout out to the homie Project Pat from PJs. Like when he was saying stuff about me in records, he was questioning about who I was because he's younger than me. I showed myself in the Imperial course fast. I snapped my fingers. I was in his face. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if you got something to say about me, I'm gonna be right where you at. You ain't got to even talk loud. Act like you wanted me to be where you at, and you know you're gonna smell my cologne. Rest in
you
peace
know
to
what
Pimp
it is?
Sleep.
It's just a different energy here. This is what it is. Like Drake, and sorry to say, right? I'm gonna say I don't kiss no ass. We don't sugarcoat nothing.
That's
right?
why we gonna get along.
Drake was a nerd back in the
Yeah.
days,
Yep.
right? Nothing's
Sure.
wrong with being a nerd.
No.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
See, me myself, I don't have a record. I never been locked. You get what I mean? Does that
Yeah.
make me a nerd?
No.
No. You could be intelligent, but he was a guy who has oh mom, I want to be an actor. I want to do acting, or I want to play hockey.
So he didn't have no. So as bad as I thought, is he'd have no connection to nothing street at the time?
No. What happened is certain people he grew around, probably the school where he went, he met a couple guys who were maybe connected, who lived around like other places, and that's how he got connected when he was going to school. But he dropped out of school.
Put it this
At an
way,
early
he
age.
wasn't dying of streets or anything, man.
No, he wasn't in no streets.
Put
This
it this
far
way.
from that.
Put it this
If
way.
anybody's-
Put it this way. When
Because
that,
Toronto got some streets.
yeah, I
yeah.
know, but when that track what from the bottom to the top.
Yeah.
Listen here, man. He never was
No,
at the
man.
bottom.
Yo,
He
Degrassi-
never was at the
Put it
bottom.
this way. Degrassi
Maybe
has-
his bottom is different than ours. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe like $70,000 a year is they bottom. You know, 80,000 is
yeah.
like just the bottom.
Yeah, because his mother was a teacher, and being a teacher up here is a good job.
But
I don't know who they're fooling.
But-
if you were a teacher, especially her background, you were getting near
But
100,
I not only-
near
But I
100,000
not
a year.
only that, Sean. I not only that. where he grew up and all of that, where him living
they
and
say
all
the
of
mother,
that.
no,
So
this is the story. They
that's
say
what
that
I'm
his-
trying to
no,
say, man.
Listen, they said that he grew. His mother rented a house and he lived in the basement.
So what?
When they say you live in a basement, it's like 4 rooms could be down in the basement.
Yeah, but okay, but
and
what?
a kitchen.
But hold up.
Yeah.
But tell
And
him
she
the
lives
air-
upstairs.
No,
And she
but-
lives
but
upstairs.
tell
yeah.
him the area.
It's one of the richest areas in Albany.
Okay.
So
all
so
right
it's the
then.
basement.
Tell
So it's
him
the
that.
basement. So it's the basement in Beverly Hills.
Yeah,
There
so,
you
yeah.
go.
So he lived in the basement and his mother lived on top. So I rented a house in where is it called? Forest Hill. That's a
Yeah.
Forest Hills.
That's a wealthy
yes.
place in Toronto. Toronto's expensive
Put it this
already.
way. Put it this way.
Yeah, I heard.
I'm gonna break it down. Forest Hills is like the east of Eglinton, right?
Yeah.
And you have Eglinton
No,
West.
he don't know that.
Eglinton
You're
West
saying like
is
Beverly
the
Hills.
opposite
You saying like-
of Eglinton East.
Yeah, he doesn't know that, but
Okay.
he's saying like Beverly Hills. Compared, yeah, it's like Beverly Hills. That's
Yeah.
It's like a Beverly Hills.
Yeah, indeed.
That's exactly.
I,
what
I
it is.
I think it's obvious. Like even meeting him and knowing him and having conversations and seeing him, it was like he really didn't use slang.
Mm.
Like, you know what I mean? How y'all talking to me right now, I can hear all the slang. Like even
Yeah.
some stuff like I'm picking up, like
Yeah.
y'all talking a certain way, and I could tell like you talk the talk.
Yeah.
Like with him, it was always like talking to an attorney. Even when you look at him in his interviews, and I don't mean like not like as an insult,
No,
but
it's
like
true
he's
though. No,
really-
you are talking to
yeah,
an
he-
attorney.
he's
You
like
are.
straight up. It was funny, is like he's so straight up and down with it that I didn't really, even when they brought him in the studio and they was talking about signing him and making this deal happen,
Yeah.
like I didn't see it, like, cause they was like he was on Nickelodeon until they pressed play, and I was like, oh, his music is dope. This dude he a special talent. But I didn't really see how it was gonna work, let alone last, because he didn't have any like urban edge. Don't get me wrong, you could tell he was influenced by some towns in the United States. You could tell, but it was like
No
really
doubt.
straight up. But then as the music started getting like tougher and it started talking about starting from the bottom and start being like really like weird, like, and it just started getting crazy and it got worse and worse and worse, and it was about hurting people. And I'm like, and then I think there's a line he was like, you know, I wasn't gangster to now, and I'm like, that's not how this works. Like, I think there's a confusion of what gangster is, and again, I think it goes into the fact that he feels like because he can afford to get somebody hurt, maybe somebody will hurt, you know, somebody over, and he can afford to pay for it. Really, at this level, being a gangster is when you're willing to be accountable for your actions. When you're willing to go to jail for the crime you got to commit. And if you will fight it, you won't even, you know what I mean, see to a battle you lost. You won't even just come out and be like, yeah, I lost the battle. I'm over it. I'm back to the records for my fans because my fans deserve the music. It's like, well, round 2 or round 3 is in the courtroom. It's like, bro, that is not the fly thing to do. That's not player. Like, and it's every day, like I said, every day when I first said this in
Goofy, man.
2020, I told Charlemagne in 2020, I said, every day I say this, you're going to realize it more and more. He thought it was crazy. I'm like, you're going to keep seeing it till it hits you in the face one day. And sure as shit, he had to be like, you know what, you was right. And I'm like, I'm not dissing him. It's just a way we all behave, bro. We all from different soils. Y'all from 3,000 miles away in another country. But it's a behavior that we all accept as acceptable because we all grew up under the same constraints when we come to the street stuff. Not about being a criminal, but when the crime shaped the culture. When you know if you get into a fight with somebody, you don't call the police after the fight. You fight and that's it, or you fight again. You know what I mean? But it's certain things he don't accept. You know what I mean? And you can see it because he don't know that these are the rules amongst men. See, everybody keep thinking the streets is about dumb stuff, and it's like being a man accountable, and he's lacking accountability. You didn't have to entertain the battle. When the stuff first started happening, I said, don't battle. I even tweeted, I said, it's a bad idea. But again, arrogance will get you fucked over every time. And it was like, I told the homies, I said, even if he won the battle, he was going to come out unrecognizable. Because one thing about this little dude, and I think he thinks he's the same, this little dude really from the streets. Like, Dot is not there's this weird, like, I've seen this dude squabble. I've seen this dude, like, he about all action. And he came up competing. Not just performing, competing. Really, these dudes came up start like the real bottom. Like when you hear that song, The Hard Part 6, yeah, they were sharing boxes of chicken in the studio with a Pepsi looking at you like, this is real. You know, this dude got put out his house by his kid. He fell out with his daddy. He's sleeping in the studio. He's not like you. I mean, I think
But
they
you
hear
see-
that good kid
You see
part.
but you see what you said right there? That man never felt none of that ever, Star.
No.
Never, ever. Yo, straight. I
I don't
just
wanna-
have to say that, man. You
But
know
I
what
don't want to
mean?
make it about, because I see whenever I say this, people make it about being broke, and it's not. Because LL Cool J came from a working class family, but he grew up competing. He understood culture.
Yeah.
He understood competing. You know what I mean? He could be in a affluent community in Queens. When you go to school, yeah, you're gonna have to squabble somebody. You're gonna have to compete. You're gonna have to rap, and you can't cry when the battle is over. You gotta choose.
I
So-
love it when he said there.
Yeah, De La
Can't cry
Soul,
about it.
same way. Like, all of them dudes are not, they're going to compete with you. They're not gonna cry after the competition. Whoever you
What's going
think is,
on now?
whoever you think is from any type of, that's not like Quite Glasses, that's not a Crip, that's not a criminal, that's not this. Yeah, Tribe Called Quest, Q-Tip will battle your head off. Q-Tip will squabble your head off. You know, these dudes ain't like, and that's the confusion. Like, what I get from him is, like, even right now, you have to be accountable for the choice you made to entertain this battle. Like, bro, if you listen to this pod, let's say you listen to this pod, your partners listen to this pod, bro, don't do that. Don't do that to your fans. Focus on making the music. You're making great money. Do not take on the #1 record company in the world, the #1 distributor in Spotify records, and the #1 promoter of records in the world in iHeart. It's an emotional and a bad decision.
That's
You're not
exactly
gonna
what you-
win it.
Right.
It's not in the cards for you to win this one. It's okay. Like, he acted like somebody that's never lost.
That's how it is. Spoiled. It's spoiled.
Oh yeah.
Because listen, I'm not surprised of this. People have to look the Grassy days. I don't know if anybody remember the Grassy days. He was an actor, right? And when you're an actor, that was one of the top shows in Canada from back in the 80s.
Yeah, a lot of young people told me they saw it here, so it had to be big.
Yeah, so it was a 80s show back in the days, and then they revived it in the what? In the 2000s, the early 2000s.
The new class.
And he became like the new class. So that show was already popular from the 80s. Even Americans used to tap in. I used to hear.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It
Back
was
then.
a back in the day show back in the 80s.
Mhm.
And then after it was a new class.
Then
with
a
him.
new class in the 2000s. After he was in it.
Yeah, my
Coincidence?
Nickelodeon. I didn't see the
Coincidence?
grass on Nickelodeon when I was young. I seen Darkwing Duck and Doug and all that. I didn't see no Degrassi in the 80s. I
So
seen
Drake-
Double Dare on Nickelodeon. That was
He
a
was,
cool
he,
little
he
duck.
was in a wheelchair too. He was called Jimmy.
Yeah, I
Jimmy
seen his
Brooks.
name was Jimmy. Yeah,
Jimmy.
and
Mhm.
look, I never was judgmental about that. Like,
Yeah.
cool, bro. Like, I don't really care about what you do because you got talent.
He's talent. Yeah.
Yeah, he's dope. But it's like, bro, now it's time to be accountable. Like, if you've never been hip hop before, this is the time to find yourself and step forward now for your fans. Don't make them people look crazy, bro. Just chill out. Like, move on. Focus on getting back into a position with your career. You know what I mean? You have an opportunity. Fans love you around the world. Man, start focus on that. Focus on trying to win this battle. You're not gonna win it. It's not for you to win. Like, it's written in the stars that you're supposed to lose. It's obvious. Just leave it the fuck alone.
The mistake, what he has done, and he mentioned it earlier. Okay, he's trying to prove himself that he's hip hop or something. I don't know. This is not proving yourself that you're hip hop. You're right. I can't even say that, right? But you're right. Why wouldn't he check in with the platforms here? What is really grassroots?
That's what hip hop is.
He doesn't.
You connect with the people. You connect with. That's what culture is. Culture is. Listen,
Now
the
you
black
understand.
experience. The
Now you
black
understand.
experience is how people treat you. A lot of people can have a black experience, right? It's people like that look like us that don't look like us that had a black experience, where some asshole racist police would treat them improperly. But the culture part is how we deal with each other. So if you represent Toronto street urban culture, how you ain't tapped in with the media that's something like you, how you don't empower them and give them a voice.
And you know
And
what?
to me, that's the mistakes.
I would want him to be authentic, even if you're mad what I said or mentioned.
Yeah.
Yo, express yourself,
Express
Drake.
yourself.
And to me,
Express
you ain't
yourself.
said nothing crazy. You ain't called him out his name. You haven't called him. You ain't called him something less than what. To me, you know what I mean. You haven't said anything less. I don't think y'all have disrespected him. Y'all saying, hey, this is who you really are. Feel me?
You know
These are
why?
the issues we have. you're not tied into the culture, right? You're not really showing love to the culture, and you are in position of another level.
Well,
That's like if there's a
That's what's gonna happen. You're right. I like what you just said there,
Yes.
because anytime you don't know, as we talk, Down to Earth could blow from coming here. It's like a lottery, straight up. The algorithm could go. Then you want to. This is how Toronto is. Then you want to jump on the bandwagon.
yeah.
Now you want to get down to earth more. You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah, but-
we are about our biz in behind the scenes. We always busy. Like tomorrow, we're going out to a networking thing.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Our creators,
I just don't get. You know what? See, the culture makes you obligated. You even some people here don't understand why, but they do it because they know the culture makes you obligated. If you're not intelligent enough to figure out why you're supposed to empower people that come from, the struggle like you, or that come from culture, like come from the street urban culture,
Yeah.
you supposed to be forced to. Just your obligation is knowing it. So it's just like you're right. The dude Dread. I said this about academics on the Homies podcast, the community live stream. Like Act goes so hard for him, he's never empower Act. And then I think academics responded like, oh well, I don't care about having a personal relationship. It's like, or I just okay with getting a text. I'm like, you got to get to a place to where you stop allowing people to mistreat you that you support.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I can see if you have no connection. Like, I don't know every Laker. You know what I mean? I don't know the Lakers. I know some of the dudes that play, but I don't know them personally, but that's my team. So my connection is that team represents my city.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't got to know them, but like you saying you're a Toronto, you're a god of the six, then how are you not empowering the six as a whole? Like there's no reason, especially at your level, you could do simple things. Just like he could come sit here with y'all and work out whatever y'all differences is and get some understanding. The only reason you don't is if you feel like there's something to hide or something you don't want to be exposed in the conversation.
Exactly.
It's like you're in your own kingdom and your own peoples don't respect you
Listen,
still.
You know what it is? I'm gonna be straight up, man. Because we're really part of the culture. We were underground before. We've been doing this pod for 5 years.
Wow.
We've been watching the scene. I'm an artist myself. I have my own story, because this the real underground. If you're talking about hip hop,
Yeah.
I've been through it. I've seen it and shit. You know, people have life, go through different things and shit. But I seen Drake's rise. We seen other artists rise. We helped young artists in our own place, our own home studio.
That's what you're supposed to do.
We always recorded. We always networked with people from what? Even my pops, he was a DJ over what you would say almost 30 years, over 35 years. So we always been in the culture with music. So this is not like, some people who just have a podcast and don't have no experience with artists. I see my dad bring bands here, rehearse. My pops go out at events and put on events, bring artists from Jamaica, because we're Jamaican background, right?
Believe that.
And perform in Canada and do his own shit, independent. So we're not like the average podcast. That's what I'm just putting out there. You get what I mean? We know the knowledge, and we got an older brother who knows the hip hop from back in the days, LL Cool. The whole thing, LL Cool J, Public Enemy.
Sure, I'm coming forward. Yeah.
We know the hip hop like anybody down in America. So when we talk about stuff like Drake and pop and hip hop, nothing's wrong with Drake being a pop star.
I don't get the problem. Like that's important to me, that rap is able to colonize pop space. So I always respected his ability to go out and still, no matter what, he's a brother. Your father's a brother. So when you succeeding in that pop space, I can't do nothing but have joy in my heart. But you gotta leave space for the people that don't have a voice. You know what I'm saying? If people see you as they think you us, they're gonna keep we'll get the next Jack Harlow. And shout out to Jack, because I don't have a problem with Jack, or I don't have a problem with Post. I just have a problem when they start getting hip hop budgets. Those budgets are allocated for people that don't have other options. These dudes could wake up and be anything tomorrow. Hip hop, shout out to them brothers from New York City that created something that really gave ghettos around the world an opportunity to change their life. Not just drugs like we've been having to do, or robberies or anything else. Like hip hop, them dudes blessed every ghetto around the world with something that could express, hey, this is what's going on in Toronto. This is what the brothers in the streets is going through. This is what the brothers in the streets of Chicago, like kids being soldiers and trapped and guns galore, and you could get all the information. So if you want to help, if you want to go there and you want to be updated on what's happening with the brothers there, that's what hip hop did. It allowed us to know how much different Toronto ghetto was from Watson Compton ghetto. We knew it was the same.
So when they say not like us, when he made that track, that didn't offend me. I was like saying, yo, when he said
Yeah.
not like us,
Because you
not
know,
like us from
because
like,
you know you are us.
Yeah. So when he said not like us, it doesn't mean just. It's not just Toronto.
That has
like, if you
nothing
wanna
to do with
it.
it.
Has nothing to do with that. It's
Nothing
like,
to do with Toronto.
so these
Young
people,
boy, Doc got partners up there. Like, that is not,
I knew
it's
that.
us.
But, people who don't, they can't tap in that deep sometimes. It's just straight up, man. I'm no filter. Even from here, they can't. Only certain a few could tap in that it's not about us. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when he's saying not like us, no, we are the culture.
Yes.
Just explain to you. My pops was a DJ doing music from a long time. We grew around this shit. You see how we blaze this shit? This ain't new. This ain't new. You get what I mean? Like, this is not no trend. This is our culture. We've been smoking the weed from teenage times and shit. Now we're all.
And it was just weird that people made it about mix, and I'm like, that don't have nothing to do with culture. Like, people consider Eminem Eminem is the culture, bro. Like, it's people that are Mexican folks, white folks, Al Capone. It's the culture is big. Beastie Boys are the culture. They Jewish.
Yeah.
It's just when you are voided of understanding how to treat other people that come from these type of environments, and that's what does. You know, if I did have an issue with him, is I feel like I don't know enough about Toronto. But the reason I don't know enough about Toronto is because you're not a hip hop artist. That's like Michael Jackson teaching me about Gary, Indiana, or Madonna teaching me about New York. It's pop artists, that ain't their job. Our jobs in hip hop is so I know what's happening in the dot, bro. If I knew what's happening there.
You see what he said there? I'm going to give him some medicine.
I want to ask him a
No,
question.
hold on. Before that, I want to give him some medicine, a list to look for. One we're going to shout out.
But
You want to know?
before you bring that list, I just want to know this. Besides Drake,
that's what I was going to ask.
Lanez,
yeah.
Who else do you know from Toronto? Like, you know, as an artist-wise.
Sure, you're right. I know Cardi, right? Because when I first came in the game, Cardi had a song with Khan, and Cardi was cool. We met once. Good dude.
Okay.
I know who The Weeknd is. And I've seen some of the guys he has. I just don't know their music. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know it.
Any MCs?
Pressa, but I never heard the songs.
Okay, these guys are the fresh guys. These are the fresh ones.
But
I'm saying my problem is
there's a reason
I don't know the songs.
There's a reason why I ask these questions, because I ask this more than once to the Americans, you know, who we talk to, because it's a bit of my research too, because we know a lot about you guys from time, you know, and I'm talking about underground peeps. I even say to certain MCs, that peeps here, they're like, who? I'm like, yo, I listen to a lot of hip hop, bro.
Sure.
And the thing is, when it's like now vice versa, now it's like, it's
you just
to
mentioned
me,
Weeknd and Pressa, right? Those are pop to me. Those are the guys who became
they signed if nothing else.
And Tory Lanez, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. But if you want like that close to like where you're from, like that Compton, gritty street shit. I'm gonna put out Frankie Payne.
Go on, tell him.
Check out Frankie Payne.
Send me them links, bro. Tell some of them.
I'm just gonna say some names. Ghetto Concept. I'm bigging up all the guys, the real guys.
Yep. Make sure you send me them links on the phone.
Citizen Kane. I'm just gonna say some of them.
Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane.
Downtown, Regent Park. What we were saying. Point Blank. The East.
Man, look.
Don't forget about Daniel, man. Don't forget about Daniel. Don't sleep on Daniel.
Have some of them dudes reach out. Like, send me them names so I can reach out to them dudes.
We will.
You mean to tell me, like, dude?
Yo, you can't forget about Socrates.
Maestro Fresh West is the Godfather. If you never heard of him,
he's like the Godfather of it. He's like the beginning.
He's like the Rakim of Toronto.
And he's supposed to teach me that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But if
I'm
he was
looking for
up
an interview, man. I still haven't got an interview, Maestro. We talked.
Say it.
You see what he just said?
Say
'Cause
it.
you know, the same energy. What you're saying, how you're supposed to connect, and this man's an OG. He's the one before Drake.
Yup,
He's the one who
way before
went
Drake.
to America and got with Showbiz and AG
wow.
Yeah, man.
from the 80s, late 80s.
And then after you
And
can't
then
forget
became
the one and only, you know,
Misha
Misha
Me,
Me.
the first female MC, what became commercial in America and other places. Yeah, she was with Roxanne, like those times with Roxanne Shante, and she was beating even some American girls like in battles. I think Big Daddy Kane came up talked about that
Yeah,
recently,
yes.
about 2 years ago. Like this Canadian girl came down there and battled some girls,
What's up to
and some
Misha
other
Me.
shit happened. But you get what I mean? Like they're surprised this girl from Toronto back in the days came down
But
there.
yo, but regardless,
Yeah.
you have to give him that list. We gotta
Yeah,
give you
there's
that
a
list
lot.
up,
There's a lot.
because, like you said, you don't know much about Toronto,
forget-
right?
I don't
So-
wanna
because
leave out
because
anybody.
the things you know about us, right, is because our greatest rappers teach you about us.
yes.
Yes.
Ice
yes.
Cube teaches you about us.
And you know what? It's funny. You know what? My older brother, who he mentioned, our older brother,
Yeah.
first time I ever listened to hip hop, first time.
Who was it?
Guess what? It was mostly West
Yeah,
Coast,
West
that
Coast. He was
gangster
listening to-
shit.
Sure,
'cause they was-
That NWO, NWA, and all of that. He
But just
introduced
think
me
about
to
it, right?
that.
Ice
That's what
T,
what I listened to.
Ice
Ice-T,
T,
all of that.
Ice T and them told you about our life. NWA told you about our life. Ice Cube, Too
But-
I was
Short.
listening to a lot of
But,
Ice
but
Cube.
imagine now being introduced to that. No other hip hop.
I would tell-
I was introduced to that, and
Ice
then
Cube-
I was just hooked.
Ice
But
Cube
think,
was
but
one
think
of my
about this.
influences.
Think about this. This is what he's supposed to be teaching us.
Yeah, you're right.
Drake's supposed to be teaching us this about, if you're hip hop, you supposed to be teaching us about these
Your
people. We supposed to know all this stuff.
So you know,
about
yeah,
these
you're right.
people's
The
run.
culture.
You know
you're
what?
right. You're right.
You know what?
you're right.
I have
brought that up in
but
an episode.
I would have to
still.
hand this to him though. Remember, he did bring that night that he brought all the
Yeah,
old
but that's
school-
I'm gonna straight up say that's bullshit, right?
Okay,
what my brother's
say
trying
it,
to say,
say
he
it,
came up
mention
with this
it.
concert right before he had a tour with a couple of the Toronto legends, quote unquote, what influenced him, right? But yo, he left. Man, I have a
he
story.
left some out.
You want to bring that up? I have a story about that story.
I mean, that's supposed to be a documentary. You see what Kendrick did, right?
Yeah.
He took his moment, and
Yep.
then y'all learned about a lot of West Coast artists from
Yep.
that
Yeah.
moment.
He
Whether
had
or
some-
not you follow them or not, it don't matter. You learned a lot about a
And
lot.
you know the funny thing, I'm gonna put it out there. Like we talk about the Kendrick stuff and the Drake stuff a lot, but it's funny. I have to admit, Drake did have a thing like Kendrick before, but what happened is, I think this is my opinion. He didn't get all the real Toronto guys on it, so it kind of
Did he put, yeah, but my point is that's your service. Like, I'm sure he's collabing with some of them, but it's a like Dot has collabed with everybody for years too, but it's an ever going job. Like, it's an ever going job. So this is why, like, if you see this, Drake, bro, come sit down with these brothers and y'all talk like real Toronto cats and amicable, like, because this is the people you supposed to empower. Go sit down with the dread dude, bro. Sit down and empower the streets.
Yep.
Not just the criminals. Shout out to all the dudes who lives he changed, that's criminals, that's around him to earn, but even just the culture, people that's just trying, like, this is like, it's nothing. These
No,
are the
he's
perfect moments.
You know he's right, because I said it too. I told it to Friday. I said this. Basically, if this man comes on your show and you've been being the biggest supporter for him in this so-called media in all of Canada, he would help you in America, straight up,
Yes.
right?
We would,
Correct me if I'm
yes.
wrong.
Yo,
Drake
He
comes on
did
your
a
show
stream. He did a stream with some random
go on.
white man that I didn't know who the man was, and then everybody else went and looked up who he was.
Yeah,
How about that girl in the bed?
in the
In
bed.
That's how I figured out who. Hey, that's who I figured out who Bobby was. I had no idea who Bobby was, and I'm like, why are you laying in this bed with this white lady that looked like Little? What the fuck? Like, why? So I should have saw you guys with him talking.
Yeah.
So again, it's
Listen, you
Look.
know the funny thing about it, how the energy is going, because listen, I don't say everything, but if he doesn't do it, K-Dot will do it before
That's
him.
the problem.
That's where
And
we're
he
getting
is.
to. That's where we're getting to.
And he is.
We're not like all these other podcasts. I've straight up said we got the end. We
Yo,
got like in the six.
Well, but
we
beside-
done put in our
well-
work.
Well, besides the
So, you know.
besides the artists there,
Yeah.
not too long ago, Dr. Umar came through.
Yeah,
and
we got Dr.
and we
Umar,
got
a
to
little
talk to
piece of
Dr. Umar. You know what
That's
I'm saying?
dope.
Who
You
could
know what
say
I mean?
that? Who
Straight
has a
up.
pod? But not just Dr. Umar. We talked to some real
Yeah, some real
people
heads, man.
from America from the beginning. I always made sure, no matter what, even though we're from Canada or Toronto, we linked with other brothers or sisters in the world. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's down to earth, right? And we be straight up black people in or
Every
Hispanic,
goddamn part
everywhere.
of this thing, especially if they come from any type of struggle. I could see if they was some bougie elite, but I'm like, all of us come from the struggle, so I don't know. But you know what? Again, this is why I always say he's not hip hop, because there's certain moves that you feel empowered to make that you not. And when you feel like you have a choice outside of that, you already losing.
That's why I call him hip hop. You know what I mean?
And
I don't even think he hip at all. That's the problem.
Well, the thing is why I call him hip hop, because now it's all about being popular. You know,
nothing's wrong
popular.
with, listen, nothing is wrong with being the
Popular.
pop star,
Mm.
right?
No,
Or what he's doing. But when it's in hip hop, right? And people wanna you gotta be educated about it, straight up, right? They done, for example, this Billboard shit recently,
Oh,
which I don't
boy,
listen to
here
that
we
shit. Not the
go.
Billboard shit. It was the other thing. I don't. Yeah, was it Billboard?
yeah, man, that
So-
so-called
No, it wasn't
joke.
Billboard. It was something else. I forgot. But they were
What?
talking about the 50 top MCs.
Yeah, joke.
Right? The 50 top MCs. And Karis One wasn't in there.
Yeah.
So soon
Like you
as,
said,
and
a
we know it's
joke.
bullshit because it's not the culture. This is an example. It's not the culture judging who's the top 50. I don't believe it's Billboard. Billboard had one before and that was bullshit. This one is another.
Joke.
This
I
is
think you're talking
another
about the one Forbes did.
Yeah, Forbes. Forbes done theirs. And
Listen.
that shit, they had good people in it, but that's pure bullshit.
Me taking advice on hip hop from Forbes is like me taking financial advice from
Yeah.
rappers.
The only way I would only take the list really seriously, it has to be from all
Listen.
hip hop elites.
Listen,
I'm
they
sorry.
had
No,
elite-
no, no,
they
no.
had
I'm
people
talking.
like
No,
that
listen
on
here.
there.
No, I'm
Soon
talking
as I
about.
seen
I'm
Karis One not
talking
on there,
No, no,
I
no.
said,
Listen
yo,
here. No.
this is
What,
not
what
it.
what I'm saying is to judge it, really judge it.
Yeah.
It has to be hip hop elites from old school who really know what the deal is and observed the culture from day
It should-
one
it-
until
no,
now.
none of those companies.
You know what I mean?
None of those companies.
None of
It
them
should-
know.
It should be our own people.
You know what? You
doing
know
that
you know
shit.
what it reminds me of?
None of them
It reminds me of like Marvel and DC. Okay, that they're doing the movies and they never read the comics.
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
but I said
straight
none
up.
of those companies.
Good.
They should even be representing, doing anything, saying they're the
Man, just like Drake understand, man, hip hop is something special. And if you could present the look of it or be involved in it, immediately you're gonna create some noise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I want him to do the right thing, but you know, it don't look like it's gonna happen.
But this is like a soap opera because he's bringing a company where he works for to court.
It's
And
not
this-
just that. It's not just
our
that
petition,
company.
Our petition.
It's Spotify and it's iHeart. iHeart owns 90% of the radio stations in the United
So
States.
He's that in his head that he's like the sixth God, you know. He's thinking he's the real
Yeah.
sixth God, you know.
He's confused.
He's
Yeah, it's
thinking he's
bad
the real
stuff.
sixth God. You know?
Gone to the head, bro. It's really gone
He's
to
the
the
real
head.
sixth God taking on all of this.
Yeah, man.
And you know the funny thing? They try to suppress like people like us, the message, but it's a different time, right? He's good at what he does, right? He's very good, Drake, what he does, right? And other people. But you see what we do? I know what I do and my brother do. We're very good and we're coming. We are the sorry to say the nightmare of the real for Toronto. No filter. So Drake, you have to come down to earth.
You
No
should,
matter
dog.
what, you have to come down to earth no matter what. Because if you want to represent the culture or hip hop,
You gotta come
you
through.
can talk to Friday from We Love Hip Hop
Or worse
all
yet,
you want. But us, we know
or
the
worse
real.
yet, or worse yet, you want to get the record straight on things.
The record straight because you're going against a man like Kendrick who's a real
Culturist.
authentic
Yeah.
culturalist.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
let's
he's a
I'm gonna be
culturalist.
straight up down the line. It doesn't matter. We don't just beg for anything. Kendrick will eventually, when he knows who's the people for the culture from the six
It's
in
a
his
natural
game
thing.
of the
Huh?
podcast, he's coming here. It could be anybody from TDE, Punch, any one of them. They're coming.
And they will. They
Absol,
will.
could be any one of them. As long
Yeah.
as it could even be another West Coast person who's influential, like Whack 100. Anybody, it could be anybody. They're coming, and when they
Yeah.
come, you're gonna get that algorithm. Same like you. You already came. You get what
True.
I'm saying? Glasses Malone.
I gotta bust up out of here, man.
Yeah, man. Much respect, man.
Much respect.
Hey, make sure you send me that list of the artists, man. I
We're
want
gonna
to
send you
check
the
them out.
list. We're
But
gonna
yo,
send you the
before we go, let them know where they can find you on all digital platforms.
Man, I'm
brother.
Googleable, man. I'm Googleable. Google me. Every phone got it. I'm right there. You can conversate with me, politic. All the rappers that he named, man. If y'all doing y'all thing, let's get some in, man. Let's do some
Yeah,
work,
man.
man. We
Bless
ain't gonna
up.
play with it.
One
Gonna
more
link you,
thing,
man. We're gonna link
one
you.
more thing before we go. Could you give us Down to Earth Podcast a nice shout out before we roll out?
Check this out. This GLA double dollar sign Nisha. That's right, your big homie Glasses Low. And you checking out the Down to Earth podcast right here, baby. T-Dot's finest. That part.
Respect,
You
man.
done know,
Bless up,
man.
man.
You
It's an
done
honor to
know,
have you
man.
come
It's
through.
been an
Bless
honor.
Love, Brody. I gotta get on. I'm on y'all.
All right then. You done know, man. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being strong. Thank for everybody for coming on and tuning in. We all about a win. Until next time, this is the Rastafari Samurai, never leaving you dry in your eye. Prove this message nation. What? You done know, people.